Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, Shir Sponsor, Lui Nishmas, I'm Yakushom, Lab Yitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Yud Gimel. We have here a little more difficult daf, going through the cheshbonos of the when do you do Ibur Hashanah. So let's start. If you base in the bottom, the Gemara says the following. Omar Rav Yudah Mashmuel. It's starting the end of the third line from the bottom. Omar Yudah Mashmuel in Ma'avri Mesashono. You don't do Ibur Hashanah unless the Tkufa is Chaser Ruba Shechodesh. What does it mean Tkufa Chaser Ruba Shechodesh? It means, as the let's see Loshu Rashi, Ein Ma'ari B'Sashana Ala Tkufa En Kerchishu Matush Tkufa Stamus Chasero Ma'ashlomosh Tishri V'Chad Yom Shalom Ruba Shechodesh Tishrei, which means we're focusing. If you go back, we learned Daf Yud Aleph. We learned over there that there's three reasons why, according to Rashi, we do Ibur Hashanah. And one of them has to do with the Tkufa, which means if the Tkufa of Tishrei falls in the wrong time, I mean Tkufa Tishrei, and the best way to compare it for what we know is called seasons. You have 4 seasons. You have the fall season, it's called Tishrei. You have the winter season, called Tkufas Tevis. You have the spring season, Tkufas Nisan, and you have the summer season, which is called Tkufas Tammuz. That's the equinox, the cheshbon that you have based on the hiluch of the Chama. Now, the months are based on the Levana. They're based on the moon. So they're based on the moon. You need to make sure that the Tkufas fall in the right order. What Rashi learns is that the Tkufa of Tishrei, which is supposed to be the fall season. The fall season should be in Tishrei. Now, if the basically doing a cheshbon, you're realizing that if they go ahead and do the regular year without adding a month, the tkufa will fall at a different time. When Ruba Shechodesh, the majority of Chodesh Tishrei will not be in the new tkufa. The majority of Tishrei will belong still to the previous season, to the summer tkufa. So then what? So the tkufa is missing the majority of the month of Tishrei. What is the majority of the Chodesh? Meaning it's missing 16 days. 60 days. What is Shisha? So look at Rashi. Tkufas Tishrei Nerfeles Beyud Zayin. Tkufas Tishrei will be on the 17th day. The first 16 days of Chodesh Tishrei will belong to the previous Tkufa. Says Rashi that Tkufas Tishrei Nerfeles Beyishasor in Me'abri. But if the Tkufa falls on the 16th of Tishrei, I'm fine. That's a beauty. Says the one that Yud Gimel Aleph. Rabbi Yossi Omer Echad ve'Esrim Yom. Talk about the 21st, meaning that if the Tkufa of Tammuz goes in to Chodesh Tishrei until Chof Aleph Tishrei, and Tkufas Tishrei only falls on Chof Beis Tishrei, then you have to do Ibur Hashanah. You have to have another month. That's not good. But as long as it's not so much, you're fine. So explaining more, what's the machlekes? V'shtei mikra chadosh, dash in the same pasuk. It says in the pasuk, Chag ha'osif, Tkufa Hashanah, Sukkos Chag ha'osif, has to be in the Tkufa of the Shana, the Tkufa of Chodesh Tishrei. Mar sovar kulei Chag be'inan b'Tkufa Chadasha. You need to have the entire Sukkos b'Tkufa Chadasha. Rashi really points out here, we'll see in the morning in the Gemara, we're talking about specifically Chol HaMoed, not Yom Tov, because it has to be a time that you do a sifo. You're able to come and collect the grain. So Mar sovar which means you need to have the entire sukkahs, you need to have the entire Chol HaMoed sukkahs in the new tkufa. You need to have 1 day of Chol HaMoed in the tkufa chadasha. So what does it mean? What's the machlekes? The machlekes is like this. If the tkufa of Tammuz goes into the month of Tishrei, and therefore you will have a part of Tishrei belong to the summer season, not to the fall season. So as long as I have sukkahs within the fall season, I'm okay. How much of sukkahs needs to be in the fall season? So one madama holds the entire Chol HaMoed sukkahs. I don't have to have the first day of Yom Tov, but you need to have the entire Chol HaMoed Sukkos within Tkufas Tishrei. And the other Mandamit says, no, you need to have the last day of Chol HaMoed, one day of Chol HaMoed within Tkufas Tishrei, means you need to have Chof Aleph Tishrei there. Says the Gemara, my Kasabi. So one second, first of all, it says, takes a more little break. It says, so what do they hold? If they hold the last day of the Tkufa, I mean the first day of the Tkuma belongs to the previous Tkufa, so then if I tell you that the Tkufa falls on Yud Zayin Tishrei, on Ted-Zayin Tishrei, you're fine. But if the Tkufa falls on Ted-Zayin Tishrei, it belongs to the previous Tkufa. The day of the Tkufa belongs to the previous Tkufa. So you don't have the entire Chol HaMoed in the Tkufas Tishrei. And if the Tkufa falls on Chof Aleph Tishrei, and you say it belongs to the previous Tkufa, so again, that means nothing fell. In other words, when I say that we got to the end of the Tkufa, that day that you're ending, is that the beginning of the next Tkufa, or that's the end of the last Tkufa? Ela Kasabi Yud Tkufa Matchel. When I say Tkufa, it's the first day of the next season. So you made the what? One man Dharma holds, Rabbi Yehuda holds, that what? That if Tkufas Tishrei falls in Ted-Zayin Tishrei, so then the entire Chol HaMoed of Sukkos is in Tkufas Tishrei. I'm good. The other one Dharma says if Tkufas Tishrei falls on Chof Aleph Tishrei, so I have one day of Chol HaMoed there, I'm good. So when we see there, Yom Tkufa Goymer, Rabbi Yehuda, clearly Yehuda says Yom Tkufa, the day of the Tkufa falls, is the last day of the previous Tkufa. And that's a machlokes. We do also Yom Tkufa Goymer. For Itanya, if I know the right, so that's the sentence we had before. In other words, the Tkufa of Tishrei eats up the majority of the month. V'kama ruba shechodesh shisha soyoim 16 days, as with the first one that we mentioned before. Rabbi here says 2/3 of the month. How much is that? Chaf Yom is 20 days. Meaning the Tkufa doesn't fall until the 20th day, and the 21st day is the next Tkufa. According to the sheet that one understands now, Yom Tkufa Goymer, the day the Tkufa falls belongs to the previous month. So Chaf Aleph Tishrei belongs to the next Tkufa, so you're good from Chaf Aleph, but you see if it's going with Chaf Aleph. Rabbi Yisrael Omer, Mechashvi Shisha Soy Lefnei Pesach Me'abrim Shisha Soy Lefnei Chag Ein Me'abrim. This we'll go back to in a moment, into the understanding what Rabbi Yisrael says. We'll go back to that in a moment. Rabbi Yisrael wants to say that you look based on Pesach. Get back to that. Even the 16th of before the Chag, meaning if the Tkufas Tishrei falls on the 16th before the Chag, then what? It's also you have to do an Ibur. So I'm not relying on 16. And not like Rabbi Yisrael says 16 for the Chag is okay. And Rabbi says you go based on Miyuto. The Muslim explain that as well. Something more kasha. What's the kasha? The kasha right now is on Rabbi Yehuda. Because on one hand we said Rabbi Yehuda Tkufa is matchil, and here we said Tkufa is goymer. And Rabbi Yehuda said before we go based on the 16th day, and now we're going based on the 21st day. So that's a kasha Rabbi Yehuda. Okay? Okay, so now let's go down. So let's see now what the Gemara is going to explain for each shito. So Rabbi Yehuda we have a steal. That makes a lot of sense if you hold your Tkufa Goymer, because the last day of the Tkufa falls on the 20th of Tishrei. That belongs to the previous Tkufa Tammuz. Chof Aleph Tishrei is the first day of the next Tkufa, and that's one day, last day of Chol HaMoed. According to this sheet, Rabbi Yehuda holds that the last day of Chol HaMoed is good enough. You go based on 16 days before Pesach. What does that mean? If you look over here, look at Rashi, towards the bottom of the page, about halfway through the wide lines, you have a Rashi, and Rashi says the following. So, if Tevis, the winter season, eats up into the month of Nisan and reaches until the 16th of Nisan, and then the Tkufa of Nisan falls on the 17th of Nisan. Tkufa, the solar season, falls in the 16th month, lunar month. Why? כשאתה משיבה עשו יום בניסון, צייק א' יום תקופת ניסון, וצייק יום תקופת של תמוז, היינו קולים מחלב תשרי ותקופה נפלס בחבש. Very simple. If I go and do, every tkufa is 91 days. So add 91 days twice to in Nisan. You got 91 to tkufa Nisan, 91 tkufa Tammuz. Says Rashi, and ends in Chaf Aleph Tishrei. That's what it ends. Doesn't matter because you have Chosr and Mola. You have every 2 months, one is Chosr, one is Mola, one is Chosr, one is Mola. So if I have 3 months of Tkufa of 90 days, that's 3 months plus 2 days. You have 91, so 3 months plus 3 days. So you add 6 days to the 15, it comes out to be 21. And the fellow calls it a base. Hi, the Avigad Abiyasi Yom Tkufa Matchil, even though you hold Yom Tkufa's Matchil. Meaning the day that Tkufa falls is the first day of the next season. Still, they can be Tzaschag Tkufa Chadasha. Right? And Rashi goes on to do the Cheshbon. So, what comes out to be? If the Tkufa of Tavis goes till Tzayin Nisan, that means Tkufa Nisan falls only on Yudzayin Nisan, so then the Tkufa of Tishrei will fall on Chav Beis Tishrei. That's the Cheshbon. And if it falls in Chabes Tishrei, it falls after Chol HaMoed ends. It's falling Shmini Atzeres. That's too late. That's too late. That's what Rabbi says. Okay, so Rabbi holds, you go based on Chabes, and you go Yud Kuva Matchil, and you have Chav Aleph. Now, adds Rabbi another sentence. Shishas Livnei Achag, if it falls 16 days on Sukkot, meaning on the Tzayin Nisan, then you're not me'aber. So, that's a steer Rabbi Yisrael. He just said until Chaf Aleph, okay, based on 17 of Nisan, do the Cheshbonis, I get a 21 of Tishrei. So why is he saying over here 16th of the Chag? So you look at the Rashi at the bottom, next Rashi, Shishos Bnei Achag im Chosrot Kuvas Tammuz Bnei Achag Shishos Yemei Tishrei, 16 days into the summer season. V'nofel sheTishrei b'Yudzayin ein ma'aber. De'ika michulu shel moed kuva chadosha tuvo. Well, Kamat Parich, right away he was going to ask, am I on Mashitzor? I feel a Chosr Shivsor, Tamnesor, Yutes, Vesrim, call my Nami Brisi, Dein Mabim. Brisi is okay until the 21st. That she shows that possible the Mabim, I'm sure the Matis Kostish Bechabes. So when Rashi points out, he was going to ask right away, why say 16? We said till Chabes. So let's go back to the Gemara. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yomer, Mechashvin, Shishos, Ibn Pesach, Mabim, which means you get the Chabes. The first one more says, Haini Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says you go based on Chabes. It's going to Yom Tkufa Goymer, Yom Tkufa Matchel Kebenai. Do you need to have the Tkufa falling on Chaf Aleph? Or you need to have the Tkufa falling on Chaf? If you hold Yom Tkufa Matchel, so you need the Tkufa to be on Chaf Aleph, last day of Chol. If you hold Yom Tkufa Goymer, you need to have the Yom Tkufa falling on Chaf, so Chaf Aleph will be the first day of the next Tkufa. Omamar, Shishos Bnei Achag ein ma'aber. That's the second part of Rabbi Yossi. Eli Rabbi Yossi, Shishos Bnei Achag loy, 16 is fine. Hashiv Sor B'Tabnei Sor Ma'abrim, 17, 18 is a problem. And they have to do Ibra Hashanah. V'Oma Shishos Bnei Pesach in Botzuloy. And as Rashi explained, 16 before Pesach means you get to Chaf Aleph. So they wonder, Idi ein ma'aber. You're right. According to Rabbi Yossi, not me'aber l'Shana unless Kufas Tishrei is falling on Chaf Aleph. You're right, you could have said a different day. He said 16 of the Chag because he mentioned 16 of Nisan, but really it's much more than that. Shimon says, no, I'm fine to do Ibur. I mean, if the Ibur if the Yom Tkufa falls in the 16, so I have to do Ibur because I have to have the whole Chol HaMoed in Sukkot. In Tkufa's Tishrei. So that's exactly what Tanakama said. So when that give a base, he can be now Yom Tkufa Matchil. Yom Tkufa Goymer v'lo Misayim. There is a machlekes. Does the Tkufa have to fall on the 15, so the 16 will be ready Tishrei, will be Tkufa Tishrei, Or it can fall on the 16th because that's the first day. We don't know which one said what. Tanakama and Rav Shimon are arguing that, and we don't know who. That's the machlokes. Don't know which one says what. I need the tkufa to fall on the 14th of Tishrei. My kasav. Yikasav yon tkufa goymer v'kul chag beino ayiko. The one understand as the one understood till now. So what do I need to have from Sukkot and Tkufas Tishrei? I need to have Chol HaMoed. Because it says Chaga Osif b'Tkufas Hashanah. It says Osif when you're Osif. When you're harvesting, Chol HaMoed you can harvest. Other you can harvest a Chol HaMoed. So it needs to be not Yom Tov, it has to be Chol HaMoed. So then why you say the 14th? Say the 15th, you're also okay. Because then the 16th is fine. So it says, Omar Shmuel bar Yitzchok, Achei b'Tkufas Nisan Kami. תכתיב שמור חודש האביב, שמור אביב של תקופו שיהיה בחודש ניסן. So no, we're not talking about Tishrei. We're talking about Nisan. Nisan. I need that the Nisan will be in the 14th. Why? Because, as Rashi explains, שמור תקופת חודש ניסן שחמה שבתוך חידושה של לבון. It needs to be one of the Levon is becoming new. Aviv hu Nisan shechamo, she'en Nisan kori aviv elapi bishlo tvua hamizbakeres boy. Meaning, as the grain gets ripe, that's what makes it aviv. That's why it's called aviv. In Hebrew, aviv means spring, but aviv means the dryness of the tvua. They call bikur tvua v'tekayit zachoy v'chish brachal mehem. V'omar achmon shemoy shechodesh Nisan shechamo nimshato mechidush levon. Tiv chodesh. Ve'im lo shechidush noifel levon mischadesh has to be the beginning of the month. Shvin she'nisan shechamo nishato mechidush levon memiktzas. Kama mechidush yudal yomim. So that's why I need the tkufa to fall on Yudalit. Says the Gemara, so says the Gemara, I understand. If I'm just missing one day, why do you add another month to the year? Just add one more day to Chodesh Adar. Make Adar instead of 29 days, 30 days. Rashi says, it's not a problem. Rashi goes on to do the cheshbon, what's called Badu. What's Badu? I don't base the fall in Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. So he said, why is that so? Because of the cheshbon of Rosh Hashanah. I have 6 months to fix that. So why do I have to add a whole month? Add one more day. Says the Gemara, you're right. That is a solution. When it says here the 14th, doesn't mean that the kufa has to fall on the 14th. The kufa has to fall up to the 14th. Up to there. So that's what it says. Look at Rashi. Tano da'achim l'mal chashiv ha'chikol ma'abrim et miuto v'lo miuto b'chlal. Kloima, in techsat kuvas teves yudches yomim, kuvas teves eats up 18 days in Nisan, or Yudzayin, or Tedzayin, or Tezvav, v'tibot kuvas Nisan b'yom Tedzayin, meaning it's going to eat up to, let's say, 15 and fall on Tedzayin, then ma'abrim. Im chosor Yudalit, if you ate 14, don't put this with Tezvav, ain't ma'abrim, because you could add one more day to this year. So it means, not Yudal you do, it's up to Yudal you do. But once you're Yudal, you're fine. So that's one explanation of the Gemara. So what does the Meir says 14? 14 Chodesh Nisan to make sure that Kufas Nisan falls at the beginning of the month. We were talking Chodesh Tishrei, we stood originally. You need to have not only that Chol HaMoed Sukkos will fall in Kufas Tishrei, but also Yom Tov Rishon needs to fall on Kufas Tishrei. That's why, if you have, says Rameir, that if it falls, if it eats it into the 14th, what was the Lashon of Acherim? Meaning, what does it mean? Up to the 14th, if the summer eats into the 14th, and then the Tkufa, if he holds Yom Tkufa, if we'll see it's like a Cheshbon Rashi, the Churi means that Yom Tkufa Goymer. So I need the Tkufa to fall on the 14th. Why? So then the 15th of Tishrei will be in the new Tkufa, in the new season. But if it falls in, if the previous Tkufa eats 14 days, and the Tkufa falls on the 15th, and Yom Tkufa Goymer, so the 15th of Tishrei is not part of the new Tkufa. I need the entire sukkah to be part of the tkufa, including Yom Tov Rishon. Says the Gemara, Yom Tov Rishon Chag HaOsiv Ksiv. It says Chag HaOsiv. And the Gemara understood till now in the Mudalef, it needs to be Chol HaMoed when you could do a Sifo. Says the Gemara, Chag HaBab is not a Sifo. I don't need Osiv Mamish. It needs to be the time of a Sifo. I need the entire sukkah, which comes the time of harvest, to be doing Tkufas Tishrei. So that's why I need the Tkufa to fall on the 14th. So then the 15th will already be the new Tkufa. And then Rashi adds, that's why I can't add one more day, because by Elul I can't add one more day. Because I have very specific in Tishrei, the 3 days I cannot have Rosh Hashanah. Lo Yadu Rosh Hashanah can't be not Sunday, not Wednesday, not Friday. So I'm very limited, I can't just add a day. Okay, so that's what he says. It needs to be then. Right. And that's the old whole Chag. Very good. We hold Chag, Yom Kippur Goyim, I just verified that in Rashi. So that was the Cheshboinus, a little difficult Cheshboinus, but the more basic, because it says, we have, to a certain extent, we need to make sure that the Tkufa of Tishrei, meaning the fall season, will fall in a certain place, which day exactly, in order to make sure, and in order to be kind what the Torah says, and if not, I have to do Hebrew, I should have to have a month of the year. Continues a few more lines we'll learn today. The Gemara says, Smichas Kenim have to have 3. Torah one is Samchu Zikri. When you do a Smicha, Yechol Zikri Ashuk, Tomad Loimar Eido. The Eido Yechol Ketani Eido, the smallest people Eido. Tomad Loimar Eido, Yechodim Shebeimo. The Kamahem, who is it? Samchu Shtaim, Zikri Shtaim. Samchu Zikri, it's 2 and 2, that's 4. Vein Bezin Shoko. V'stifel Mordechad, Arika Chamisha, the Abuda holds the Smichas Kenim al Rosh Hapar. To do the Smicha on the par, needs to have at least 5. It's not 5, it's 3. 2 plus 1. Regan Shlosh. Active is Somchu. What about the word Somchu? Means 2. And they tell you, do Smicha. You do the Gufi Loy Tzorach and Ken the Loy Asi, the Somchu, the Durak Dosha, if there's Zikrei the Yedayim on Rosh Hapar. Just say, Zikrei, they have their hands. Where is this Somchu? Smicha tells me another 2. You'd say, if you Somchu Rosh Hapar, say not mamish on the head of the par, next to the par. And I wanted to say to put on top of the head of the par. We learn from oil, same but oil you have to have on top of the head. So also you learn from top of the head. You don't learn from oil. So that's what we learn. The question is the smichas skenim on Rosh Hapar, you need to have 2 or 4. Right. Say what Tana smicha v'smicha skenim begimel. Smicha and smicha skenim have to be in gimel. My smicha skenim. What's the 2 things? Mismach sabe. Where we're adding, except the smicha on the Rosh Hapar, we're adding smicha rabbanos. Make a rabbi to rabbi have to have 3. How do you need to have 3 to do smicha? It says the Moshe Rabbeinu did smicha on Yeshua. So it should be 1. Moshe Rabbeinu is 1 person. Moshe is not 1. Moshe replaces 71. It's more kasha. Okay? So we says in the Qur'an, it's a question because we don't know. We want to learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, but then we don't know why is it 3, should be 1, and the more stays with a kasha. Says just one more sentence over here. Or do you put mamish your hand on top of it? The smicha that we do is we give him a name. We give him a name, Rebbe. And he says, and after this, and then we give him the authority to be done dine krosos, and that's what we give him. That's the smicha that we do. And the ones we continue on to learn regarding the smicha, how many people you need to be saimich. So we have over here, the more spoke about the smicha skeni, that we need to have 3, and we have the smicha of the para, the smicha sapar, that you have to have a rosh par hail and doshel tzibur, which means when you bring a par and doshel tzibur, the Am Yisrael did a mistake, the skeni come and do the smicha, machlokes if it's 5 or it's 3. Say Gomer, Yishar Koyach, stop over here.